Heidi, just take us back to why and when SA Express was placed into provisional liquidation.
We understand that the business rescue practitioners of SA Express had asked for the airline to be placed into liquidation because they did not receive any post-commencement funding to execute their business rescue plan. They took an urgent application to the High Court in Feb, and the High Court then decided to place the airline into provisional liquidation. The airline has currently been in provisional liquidation since the end of April, and the provisional liquidation liquidators have been trying to find a way to sell off assets to basically save the airline, as they believe there is some kind of potential, there are potential buyers, but it also comes at a time, Tulas, where the aviation industry is decimated. Due to the pandemic, many airlines have not been able to fly and operate as normal because of COVID-19. So we understand that now the airline is still in provisional liquidation and has not moved into final liquidation.
Yeah, and that date for the final liquidation was set down for today, but it's not been granted, as you are reporting. What are the reasons why this has not been granted by the court?
So the provisional liquidators have asked the High Court to rather postpone this until the 28th of October. And the reason why they've asked for this postponement is because they are currently working on the ground to sell off assets. And they are very worried that if the High Court decides to place the airline into final liquidation, this will mean that they will lose their airworthiness certificates as well as licenses. And one understands that if that does happen, those certificates and that license will need to be handed back to the authorities, and it takes years for one to obtain those kinds of certificates or licenses. And when one is trying to sell off assets or trying to get any kind of equity partner or somebody to buy the airline, you need those certificates and you need those licenses. So on that basis, the provisional liquidators are saying, we are working on the ground, we are trying to get equity partners and sell off any kind of assets, and we need those certificates and the licenses. And if that happens, that the airline goes into final liquidation, those licenses and the certificates are taken away, and they desperately need that at this stage.
Caught in the middle of all of this, Heidi, are the workers at SA Express, who we understand have not been paid, affected by all of this. What are they saying to you?
Well, the workers have been very vocal since the airline was placed into business rescue, and then when the airline moved into provisional liquidation. We also know that the Human Rights Commission has also weighed in, and they are urgently seeking a meeting with government to say that the rights of workers have been, their dignity, it has been infringed on because they have not been paid for work done, and they are also saying that they have not received any retrenchment packages. Workers are extremely desperate at this time, Tulas. One can only imagine how difficult it is for them when in the middle of a pandemic they have not been paid, the airline has not been functioning or in operation. So the workers are saying we need some kind of retrenchment package, or we need some kind of payment because we are extremely desperate. So we'll have to just wait and see what this means ultimately at the end for workers, if government will come in, which will be difficult because the airline is in the hands of the provisional liquidators, but the Human Rights Commission is trying to assist in some way.
If you want to know what is happening in the airline and aviation sector, Heidi Jokos should be your go-to person. Thank you for that, Heidi Jokos, with that update about the situation at SA Express.